Today we're going to be talking about how to rebuild relationships in the context of depression. Hi everyone. Today's video is the second in a series on improving your social life and level of social connection in the context of depression. And we're going to be talking about how to rebuild relationships that you may have lost in the context of a depressive episode or a history of depression. But before I get into that, just a couple of disclaimers to go over. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this video is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute or replacement for advice from your doctor or mental health professional. Now, with those two things out of the way, let's start talking about rebuilding relationships in depression. Now, in a previous video, I've talked about thinking about your social network kind of like a bullseye, with you in the middle and different rings of people surrounding you depending on the level of closeness or connection that you have with them. And in another video, I talked about how to take people from outer rings and move them into the inner rings and deepening current relationships. And that's one of the easiest ways of rebuilding or enhancing your social network. Well, this video is about a different way of enhancing your social network, and that's through reviving, reconnecting with old friendships or old relationships. Now, the thing is, it's really common for people with depression to have some level of drift in their relationships. And making efforts to reconnect and rebuild these relationships can be really helpful in enhancing your social network. Essentially taking people who have fallen out of your social network and bringing them back in. Now, there are a number of benefits that's associated with renewing these old friendships or these old relationships. For one, you have a common history. You share a past with these old friends, and this can be a powerful basis for understanding and reconnection. You also know you are compatible with the other person because you were friends with them once before. So having that compatibility makes this an easier relationship to reconnect with. Related to that, close relationships, there's a level of intimacy. It takes a while to build a close friendship and to get to know new people. With friends that you used to have that you may have lost touch with, you already know that you had that close connection with those old friends. You already have kind of a basis of intimacy or connection with them. And finally, you share common interests. When you were friends, you probably shared similar interests with the other person. Now, these are things that you could pursue again by trying to reconnect with your friends. So there's a lot of value in reconnecting with people who may have fallen out of your social network. But this can also come with significant barriers or some significant anxiety about reconnecting and some of the potential pitfalls associated with reconnecting with people. So the first is disagreements. Now, some relationships end due to arguments. And at the time of the dispute, at the time of the argument, the issue that you were arguing with the friend may have seemed really important, may have seemed more important than the friendship itself. But with time and the passage of time, you may recognize that the relationship is more important, more important than the old disagreements, even major disagreements. And one of the things I've come to recognize, one of the things I've noticed with some of my clients when we're talking about this, is they'll talk about a relationship, a close friendship that ended due to an argument, but then it's actually kind of difficult for them to remember fully what exactly it was that they disagreed with. So it's not uncommon for these old disagreements to lose their heat over time. So don't allow a history of disagreements or an argument in the past to prevent you from reconnecting with someone who was close to you. A second pitfall or a second barrier to reconnecting with people is that often people have a sense of abandonment. That it may seem that some of their friends just drifted away when they fell into their depression. And the person assumes that these must just be fair weather friends, or that they were inconsiderate or didn't care about them. Now, that might be the case, but maybe not. I want you to imagine a scenario that you're reaching out to a friend, you want to get together with that friend. It's been a while since you've seen them. So you call them up and say, hey, do you want to go see a movie? And the response they give you is, oh, you know what, thanks for asking, but I'm having a busy day. Maybe we can do it another time. So it's okay. A few weeks later, you contact the friend again and you say, hey, we talked a couple weeks ago, wondering if you want to get together for a coffee. Yeah, I'd like to, but I just can't fly. So you invite them again and they say, nah, I just can't make it. A little bit later, you reach out to them again and you say, hey, again, it's been a while. Do you want to get together? No, not now. I can't make it. Then the next couple of times that you reach out to them, you call, you leave a voicemail, you leave a text message, and you don't get any reply back. So what might you think is the reason why you're not getting a response from them, or why they're not agreeing to get together with you? Well, it's easy to assume that maybe they thought that you weren't actually really interested, or maybe you thought that they weren't really actually interested in you. But maybe what was actually going on for them is that they were going through depression, and part of that declining those invitations was because they just didn't have a lot of energy or motivation to go out and get together with people. So it wasn't that they didn't care about you, it was that they just didn't have the energy. They just didn't have it in them to socialize because of depression. So in depression, sometimes people may give up reaching out to you, not because they don't care about you, but because they might assume that you're not interested in them and they don't want to continue to bother you. So the only way to find this out is to reach out and talk to your friend. And maybe you might be surprised as to why the friend actually really stopped calling. Another barrier to reconnecting with friends is insensitivity. So as you're going through depression, you might get some comments from friends like, you just need to relax, or cheer up, or think happy thoughts. So these types of comments are not particularly helpful, and it's easy to interpret them as the other person being insensitive or not really understanding. But think about it. Before you experienced depression, how well would you have fully understood it? How well would you have fully understood what depression was? So part of this is accepting that what seemed like insensitivity on the other person may not have been kind of a malicious thing or not caring, but rather kind of ill-informed but well-meaning attempts by people. If they haven't experienced depression, they may not understand it. So them saying, cheer up, may seem like they're trying to help, but it just comes across as insensitive. They're trying, it's not that they don't care. Reconnecting with friends can bring up issues of insecurity. It can bring up a lot of doubts and uncertainties about yourself and the nature of some of these relationships. Did this friend ever like you? Did they drift away from you because they didn't care? If you reach out to them, is it gonna come across like you're being an imposition on them? Now the thing is, these doubts are often inaccurate, and they're part of that negative thinking cycle that goes along with depression. And like I mentioned before, the only way to find out is to contact the other person, to try and reconnect with them and see how they respond. So those are some of the barriers that may stop you from reconnecting with people, but probably shouldn't, right? Those are some of the things that depression will tell you are reasons why to not reconnect with people. But you want to try and sort of bust through some of those barriers to reach out to former friends or people you used to care about. So it raises the question of, okay, that makes all sense, but what do I do? Now, the thing about reconnecting with people is that it takes courage. But reaching out to former friends can be a powerful way of rebuilding your social network. So it's really, it can be really valuable to make an effort to try and make reconnecting with friends a priority. So what I'll often encourage my clients to do is to start by just thinking about one or two people in your life that you used to be close with, that you've lost contact with, that you haven't really seen or talked to in a while. And reach out to them, either by a text message or phone call, that sort of thing. Reach out to them and see how they respond. For a lot of people with depression, there's that expectation that this person's not going to be interested in me, that they're don't want to have anything to do with me. But you'd be surprised that for a lot of my clients, when they actually do reach out to these people that they haven't connected with in a while, this person is really excited to have heard from them, and they reconnect, and it can be a really helpful tool in terms of picking the person up and helping them move forward with their depression. So I hope that information makes sense. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas about this, so please leave me some comments in the comments section down below. I hope you're enjoying my videos, and if so, and if you'd like to see more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll be alerted every week when I post a new video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.